Oh, you have a bank account here?
Yeah, and
How did you get a bank account if you don't have papers? Do you have a Social Security card?
no, I don't have the Social Security, but I've had a tax number, you know.
You have a tax number?
Yeah, the tax number.
Anybody ever come after you asking you for taxes?
No.
No?
No.
Do you think that you're taking jobs away from Americans?
I think.
Yeah. Do you feel bad about it or no?
Yes, I think.
You do feel bad. Why do you feel bad?
Because some guys being job for American guys now he can do for little money. So American guys say, okay, pay 1,000 for this job. The Spanish guys say, okay, pay me $600 or $500. I feel bad for.
You feel bad for them?
Yeah.
Why do you feel bad for them?
Because he want to work too.
So then why doesn't he do it for $600?
So he has to pay more money for the taxes or.
We are the most givingest country in the world. We give to everybody. We protect everybody. We go broke on this world. And yet, as soon as you speak up and say, I'm hurting, these guys don't deserve to be here, they don't deserve to be taking Americans' jobs, all of a sudden I'm a racist. And that's just not gonna cut it.
Where are all these guys going right now?
They go over to the Southampton Soup and Tire right there. That lady, she feeds them. She gives them clothes, she gives them food, and there's American taxpaying citizens that are dying out here. Ain't got a pot to pee in.
Wait, they're all going over there right now?
They're all going over there right now, yeah.
Like a scheduled time?
Oh yeah, every day she does it.
11:30.
Every day. I don't care how much of a do-gooder she thinks she is. She's breaking the law. She's perpetuating all of this. The McDonald's was doing it too. 7-Eleven, they got an order of protection against me just for protesting out on the sidewalk. I can't even go into 7-Eleven. These guys are breaking the law. It's not right here. Everybody just keeps letting them do it too, and I don't understand how. I don't understand why.
So that the American spirit that got us to the moon, that got us to the West Coast, we lost that years ago. If we had that, I don't think we would have an immigration problem. However, if we took away all the illegal immigrants that ever came over to America, we wouldn't have America. We came here as illegal immigrants. That's how we were founded.
This guy right here doesn't know from deep center field, this guy. He really doesn't. He's just talking in circles, this guy. He really is.
I've seen some of the Latinos in this neighborhood are the most polite, the most respectful, the hardest working. It's the American guy who wants to go home at 3 o'clock and get drunk and is irresponsible on the job site, where these guys are going to work when an American guy doesn't want to work for that little bit of money.
That's baloney. I had 25 tax-paying American citizens working for me. The builders that used to hire me and my guys come up here to get the cheap labor, and they cut me right out of the picture. Right. Now my tax-paying American citizens aren't paying the bills anymore. Who's paying the bills? These guys? They get their checks and they send it back home. They're building brand new houses at home, and we get stuck with the bill. They're using our services in this country.
I don't know if that's really the truth. I don't have proof of that.
You think these guys, 40 people to a house, they're paying the right taxes? When 10 kids are coming from one house, they're only paying one tax bill. How is that helping our country out?
America's supposed to be the compassionate nation. We take in everybody, but they need to be given a way to say, okay, look, you're really not supposed to be here, but if you're here to help, then you know what, we need help.
You come here illegally, bye-bye. We don't want you. We don't need you.
What do you do?
What do? I do construction.
You do construction?
Yeah.
So, do you hire these guys?
No.
Oh, come on. The things that you do to me every day.
I do that
you
because
tell
you
me
harass
you
these
don't hire
guys.
these guys.
Do not hire them.
That's a load of rubbish.
I don't. I work.
So what happens is people see the problems that are caused by illegal immigration and legal immigration right now, and they say, could we adjust to handle this population that's here right now? And the vast majority of Americans say, I think we can. I think we can adjust to that. What they don't think about, though, is that's what you would have if you stopped all illegal immigration right now. That's not where we're staying. We're headed for something else. We're adding another 60 million people over the next 20 years. How are we going to handle that? And that's where we lack political leaders with political vision.
Being a marketing rep in, Dade County, you have to speak Spanish. I was a rep that got sent up to Broward because I don't speak Spanish.
So you have to, and you live here?
Yes.
So you have to commute.
So I commute all the way from South Beach all the way up, almost to Boca
And
every day.
Every day because you don't speak Spanish.
Yes.
How long have you been out of work?
Over 2.5 years.
And you can't get a job because you don't speak Spanish?
That's right.
And this is in the banking industry.
That's correct.
I've tried to work in the hotels. I've gone downtown to real estate offices. I've gone into retail stores, and they want everybody here to be bilingual, and I'm not.
And personally, it sucks big time that I have to worry about speaking another language to vote here or to get a job here. And I have been looking for a job for a long time.
I just have to do what I can to survive.
And that's working for a chiropractor at a show like this.
Anything I can do.
So have you thought about learning Spanish?
No, not really. Why should I have to learn Spanish when I have all the other qualities and experience?
Who do you blame for this?
It must be the politicians.
You speak good English. How did you learn the English?
Last winter I went to the school.
Did they give you that school for free, or did you have to pay?
Nah, free.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
If I was to snap my fingers and you were legal, so pretend like you're legal, okay? Do any of you ever plan to go home and have full-time residence in your home country, or do you think you're here for good?
I have a plan.
You have a plan?
Yes. I watch the young people, and I think they are, what's the easy way to say jerk? Not jerk.
Jerk.
Oh, jerk. Okay. Sorry.
A jerk is a jerk.
I can find
Yeah. I've been called one a few times.
So I don't want to make children here in this country. So I want to make money in this country and return to my country.
So then truth is that you really do not want to be an American?
No. Honestly.
I love the honesty. Why don't you want to be an American?
Because United States is not the best in the world, The humanity change. Today, you pay for me. Tomorrow, my son pay for your son.
Do you have any way of monitoring whether or not a student is of legal or illegal status?
We do not ask that question. We do not ask that question.
Where does BOCES get its funding?
BOCES gets our funding from the state level as well as from the federal government. It can cost us in a range of, I would say, $6,000 to $8,000 per student. Now, obviously, that doesn't correlate with the registration fee that we're charging them.
How much is the registration fee?
The registration fee is $45 for the ESL students, and that covers them for the entire school year. On an annual basis, we educate about 1,800 to 2,000 students. But this past year, we've seen a dip in that enrollment.
Why do you think that dip has occurred?
That dip occurred because of the fact that there's increased in competition, because the population is doubling and multiplying by the numbers. So other people are going to attempt to provide the same service.
Why did you decide to come and take an English language class?
Have a better job.
Better job. Hold on. One at a time.
I wanted to have a better job.
You have a wife and a baby girl?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How old is the baby girl?
3 months.
When the baby needs to see the doctor, do you go to the emergency room?
Yeah.
One of the times that you went to the emergency room, what was wrong with the baby?
Oh, I don't know what happens. They say, I don't know.
They say, I don't know, and you just went home and she got better in a
yeah,
day or so?
she's better.
How many times did the baby go to the hospital? One time?
Yeah, 2 times in a month.
What was the other time for?
Oh, just looking how many pounds.
Just a checkup?
Just check.
Do you have to pay for the emergency room?
No, for now, no. She get Medicare.
The baby gets Medicare?
Yeah.
Or your wife?
No, baby. My wife too.
We estimated there were about 100,000 births a year to the illegal immigrant population in this country, and that the majority of those were paid for by the American taxpayer at an average amount of about $10,000 per birth.
Cross my fingers, nothing happened to me. But last year, I got the situation, and I got to the emergency room, and the bill, it was huge amount.
We have to understand that the individuals that are not covered by insurance will use the emergency room as their first point of access to healthcare delivery. As far as the cost of immigration or undocumented care at Jackson Health System, it is about 15% of the unfunded care, which sums to about $100 million a year. And I think we're very close to where our public safety nets will break. And if the undocumented are not going to go away, I definitely think that there has to be some responsibility placed on those individuals.
On the left, you've got a travel agency, okay? What you're going to see is another travel agency. As we look around on both sides, what you're going to see are travel agencies, money remitters, telephone locations, places that transfer money, places that move cargo. These are all companies that are essential to the illegal alien population, but they're also custom made for the people involved in criminal activity, whether it's drug traffickers or even terrorists.
It seems to be like one after the next.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's normally you go into a neighborhood, you might find two or three travel agencies. Here you'll find dozens. And if you go up and down side streets, it keeps repeating itself. This is the drain through which America's money vanishes out of our economy.
The people who throw fastballs will say, yeah, of course you want a program where they get to stay because that's going to enrich you. I mean, what's your comment?
No, that has nothing to do with anything. I mean, believe me, lawyers can make a heck of a lot more money if they were something other than immigration attorneys. You know, how much money do you think attorneys are going to get from poor people that are trying to stay in the United States?
Okay, I'm glad you just said that,
right.
Okay? You just said poor people, right? I took a ride yesterday with a retired INS agent along Roosevelt Avenue.
Right.
I swear to you, every other building literally is either a travel agency
right.
or a wiring station. Why is there a need for people who don't necessarily have enough money to go traveling 4 or 5 times?
Well,
why are there so many of those stores?
I'm not sure who's going to those travel agencies. Are you keeping a record of who's going to the travel agency?
How could I keep a record of a travel agency when I don't even know who the people in my country are?
What you're looking at is the way this whole system comes together for them. The remitters are the silent partner for the guy who's washing dishes and sending home $20 a week to the drug dealer who's moving megabucks. And when you bring young men here by themselves without their wives, they wind up going to the houses of prostitution, which spring up, which leads to more exploitation and more human suffering. This is not victimless. So are we being ridiculous to simply say, well, the people can come here so they can get a better life? Yeah, $6 an hour, a better life. Could we be more stupid than that?
The cost for administration of justice costs for illegal immigrants amounts to about $9 billion a year.
They're having kids. They're going into the school system. But who's paying for that?
Students, we're proud of your achievements and accomplishments. But I'm sure you are a little sad because after 59 years, E.W. Bauer Elementary School is closing.
You're very emotional right now.
I went to the school.
You went to the school?
My brothers and sisters all went to the school. Yeah.
The
I was
school-
fine until I got here. Everyone was crying when I got here, so of course, now I'm crying.
Do you think the closing of the school could have been prevented?
Yes.
And if so, how?
Yeah.
We have just completed a study in the past few months of the estimated fiscal impact of illegal immigration at the national and the state and local levels that came to an aggregate amount of $113 billion a year. A majority of that expense, in the neighborhood of about 3/4, is the educational expenditures to illegal alien students, as well as the limited English proficiency education for the children that don't speak English going into the public school system.
When you hear it costs $16,000 to educate children of illegal immigrants who are not paying into the system, does that, you feel like that's a factor in the closing?
Definitely. There's houses all over the place of people who rent their houses out. People who live here and rent don't pay taxes.
The law says it doesn't even matter if you sneaked into this country. It doesn't even matter if you have an illegal visa. We have to educate you. So unless the law changes, I don't have a better solution for that.
Have you seen the number of children in that situation increase, or are you starting to see that decrease?
I would say it's increasing. I mean, we very recently were told we're not allowed to even ask when we register for a Social Security number.
When you were in the second grade, third grade, fourth grade, how many kids were in your class that were non-speaking English? Were there any?
None.
In the other schools that the children will be going to, approximately 1 in 5 students are ESL students. Do you feel like that has an effect on your child's education?
Yes. Unfortunately, they get a little more attention than mainstream children. Tutoring. When my children need help, they say go pay for a tutor. I don't think that's the case for learning another language.
When I was teaching in the public schools, I had 25 children in my classroom. One child spoke only Spanish. I had no help with that child to help her learn English. The other children taught her English because I simply had no time and I had no experience in teaching English as a second language.
Now, isn't that a distraction, though, to the children who have to do that, or do you think that's a positive?
If funding continues to be diminished for public schools, teachers are laid off, class sizes increase as they have, with hard-to-teach students, it's going to be detrimental unless that teacher is a miracle worker.
First of all, schools are having problems irrespective of illegal immigrants. See, that's part of the problem. We should be educating our people. We should be educating them whether they're illegal or legal, because ultimately we're not going to be able to deport them all. And they're going to have an effect on our society.
But Bill, we are educating them all. If that number continues, which you said that the trend is showing that it's continuing to go higher, we have more now than we did then. And I say we as Lindenhurst, Long Island, and America. I'm asking you as an educated guy, is it safe to say we could be looking at more schools closing because their parents are not legal, they are not paying into the system?
Well, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
What do you think is the number one cost to America because of the lack of policy we have for illegal immigration?
Human lives, because lives are irreplaceable.
But my hopes and dreams for a wonderful future for my daughter was cut short, all because Vanessa did what she was taught. She tried to see good in an underdog. This picture was probably when she was about a year old. I love that picture of her. This was the last picture. This was taken on February 14th. She went to a Valentine's Day party with her boyfriend. But I think every picture is my favorite, I guess, because I won't get any more, you know? And when my daughter left her workplace to go pick up her son from daycare, which is 10 minutes away, he asked her for a ride to his car, and the kind of girl my daughter is, you know, she agreed to give him a ride, and he pulled a knife on her. He took her behind a big department store and raped her. And then he put a bag over her head, figuring he would suffocate her, and he put her in the trunk of the car. On Fridays, everybody at work gets together and they go for drinks. And he sat there with my ex-husband. Faustino sat there having drinks with him. So apparently he went back to wherever the car was, and when he opened the trunk, Vanessa jumped out. She was still alive. He pulled the knife again, and he slit her throat over 20 times and almost decapitated her. I'm angry at the government for not protecting my daughter and me. I'm angry at the state. I'm angry at the county. I'm angry at her boss for hiring people like this. No background checks, nothing.
Not deportation!
we did nothing wrong. We weren't criminals. We came here as children, and all we wanted to do was go to school and have normal lives. In high school, I could never tell anyone why I couldn't get a driver's license, why I couldn't go to the Ivy League schools that my peers were going to in my AP classes.
As a helpless 5-year-old, touching the hands of my mother and father, I never dreamt of living a life entrenched in fear and shame. Neither did my parents when they uprooted my sisters and me from our quiet life in the Philippines to come to America. But for the greater part of the 17 years I lived in this country that I call home, I have been afraid. When I was 11 years old, a distant relative threatened to report my family to Immigration Services. The thought of deportation prompted my family to flee our home and leave behind everything. My parents' jobs, my school, our friends. From then on, my parents told me never to tell anyone about our status. I grew up feeling lesser than others, but my undocumented status only pushed me to work 10 times harder to prove that I matter and deserve the life my parents sacrificed to give me. To all the dreamers out there in my community, hiding out in your bedrooms, wishing with all your heart that this country would finally recognize you as an American and allow you a chance at a real future. All I can say is, you can't wish for change. My name is Carla. I'm undocumented, I'm unafraid, and I'm unapologetic.